Hi, and welcome to the screencast about the salmon's journey and the infographic that I created to demonstrate this journey. So first off, I'd like to just discuss kind of the layout of it. It has 2 columns overall with little tidbits of information as we go. Here's my introduction, and my conclusion is on the bottom right here. References for any sources I got, as well as this map and this information right here is found at these links down here. Yeah, a little bit of justification for this layout is it's very dimensional. It's very easy to look at. You can see immediately that there is a large discrepancy in what we see. And I'd like to talk about the 3 different bar graphs the bar graph, the pie graph, and the map, the different graphics I used. So for this bar graph, it's demonstrating the differences before and after spillways of young salmon migration, Chinook and steelhead, I believe. And with that, it just demonstrates that, well, we are doing something to help this critical species. We aren't doing a whole lot in terms of changing. And you can see that when we did have or did not have any right along here, it was a very large challenge for them to navigate through the Columbia River system. And once we installed spillways, salmon numbers did increase in migration patterns. This pie graph right here that I have, this is demonstrating the difference between historic and current salmon migration rates. So historically, there were 16 million salmon that would migrate annually in the Columbia Basin. Last year, we got 665,000. That is a stark difference. So I decided to emulate this difference, this change from such a large, massive migration to something much, much smaller in this bar graph. And what is little known about this is that most of those salmon don't actually make it to spawning grounds that are within historic range. And 1/3 of those transported salmon that are counted there were actually moved by man in barges or other apparatuses such as fish tubes, etc. And then this last one, I got this map off of a site specializing in salmon conservation in the Pacific Northwest, and it demonstrates how the inclusion of dams has severely limited salmon, like the salmon historic range and where they can actually get to. They cannot actually physically get anywhere above the Grand Coulee Dam, but without human help, of course. And this map shows it right here. If you move in a little bit closer, it shows a little bit of different influences in it, which is very important. It shows tribal influences where salmon is extremely culturally significant. It shows where the different dams are laid out, and it shows their overall historic range, as well as the overall Columbia Basin. And that is a very powerful image because it shows that through our less than 100 years of impact in this region, we have limited the species so much. And I feel that through this image, it culminates the bar graph and the pie graph that show just how hard it is for this species to navigate and the effects that damming this river system and this overall ecotone has had on this population. Overall, I'd say that this is a very simple layout and one that can be done very effectively in the future and portrays information very well. Thank you for listening.